Welcome. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sunday Morning Coffee with Caryn, episode 63. I'm going to try to adjust the cameras so that they're a little bit closer to each other. Hi, how y'all doing? Welcome. Episode 63, we're going to be talking about death and rebirth. How perfect that I have my scorpion yin yang that I just got when I was in Sedona here for the Scorpio new moon. If you are not inside of Superconscious Leaders, make sure that you are there, the free Facebook group. I'm going to be in there live later today at 5 p.m. doing a ritual to help you all be able to really ground in what we're going to be talking about today. So, we're going to start today as we do, lighting a candle, setting an intention for a clean and clear communication, that all of the downloads that are coming in are of the highest frequency for the highest good of all as we work towards the liberation of the whole planet from the illusion of suffering and into pure unity consciousness. Perfect. Ha! Alicia knew. See, look at that clairvoyance. She knew someone was going to shave their head. I literally did this morning, so felt like the Scorpio new moon was a perfect day to do it. I got the download in Sedona that I really want to grow my hair back all the way out, and you guys know I've had that mohawk for like 2 years now, and the only way to grow your hair out from a mohawk is actually to shave it. So we're going there. Okay, so clearing the space, setting the intention again for clean and clear communication today as we discuss death and rebirth. Really, I want to focus on this idea that your human body, your physical form, can't inhabit, or sorry, your physical form only has space in it for one frequency to really exist in it. So, choking myself. So you have to make a choice at some point. Are you going to choose to continue to allow your soul, which has the dualistic tendencies of light and dark, all the earthly karma, all of the karmic lifetimes, all of your Akashic records, all of that stuff, you're going to continue to allow it to exist within your human form? Or are you going to make the choice to allow your highest self, your Holy Spirit, to inhabit your physical form instead? Like, you really can't have both. So you guys know I've been in Sedona for the last week. The downloads are still coming in, but this was a huge one that we kept coming up over and over and over again. Are we going to allow earthly karma, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of lifetimes, to continue to dictate what's going on in the here and now? Or are we going to allow for the total death of our soul so that we can then allow for our highest self to actually embody us, which is what it is to be a super conscious leader, is to be able to have that instantaneous conversation with your super conscious resources, right? With your spiritual entourage, with the light beings that are here guiding us as we create Terra Nova Elysium, which is the incantation you can say when you're calling in new earth. So it's Terra Nova Elysium. I'll type that out. Instead, I can't like type at the same time for you guys. Nova Elysium. Okay, so Terra Nova Elysium is the name for New Earth. So right now we call Earth Gaia. Gaia is really the soul. It's really the soul of our planet. She's also going through an epic transformation. So when you get downloads, like when you spend a week in Sedona, what I got for my own personal growth and for my friends' growth that I was with, it was just a tiny little like 1% of the downloads that were coming in, but the downloads were there for the planet, right? To be able to be that pure conduit, that pure channel, so that information can be streamed through my physical form and then grounded into the earth. So we were spending a lot of the time hiking barefoot, spending time in ceremony with plant medicine, really just soaking in the solar codes, soaking in that Christ consciousness, and allowing it to flood through our own systems, illuminate our own DNA, crystalline DNA, and then move through to the planet's core. So It's even the reason why I shave my head, right? So many cultures believe that your hair is an extension of your consciousness. And a lot of you know that I shaved my head back in 2018. I used to have hair that was like this long. I shaved my head, donated about 27 inches of hair. But since then, I've been rocking the mohawk, right? So I would cut the bottom half of my hair, but I was letting the top grow out. And then a friend of mine actually had a vision of me with really long hair again. And I was like, okay, well, maybe that means that all of the knowledge that I've grown on the top of my head, right, from the crown since 2018 is now ready to be reborn as well. So this morning when I got up, I was meditating and it was all like, shave your head before the live stream. I messaged my friend. I was like, holy fuck, I'm gonna shave my head. And he's like, do it right now before the live. And I was like, okay. And hilariously enough, the song that came on as I was getting everything ready was Incubus's Trust Fall. And then as soon as I turned the shaver on, this song, I don't remember who it's by, but it's called Funeral for the Old Me. And it's literally, I'm saying goodbye to who I am. I'm having a funeral for the old me, right? And that's what was on while I was shaving my head. And you guys know that clairaudience is my strongest clair ability. I'm definitely working on the other ones, but me and music have a super deep connection. So for that song to be coming on the moment that I turned on my shaver was like, okay, fuck, this is a funeral for the old me. I'm talking about death and rebirth on the live stream today. Like, holy shit, I hear you, right? When it's just, and it's been constant like that ever since Sedona, since we got there, and for it to continue once I'm here, like to not have the amnesia, to not have the retreat burnout, to not feel like, oh my God, how do I go back to who I was? No, it's how does my life catch up to who I am now, right? Who the new me. So, right? Totally divine timing, Alicia. Super intense. So, why is this so important? We have to remember that when there's a few things. So, the first thing is that the planet itself is 4.5 billion years old, and many of us incarnated as lower life forms during that time. So our soul would have come and been those tiny little fishes and those alligators and all of that stuff. It's a good look. Thank you so much. I actually love having a shaved head. It's one of my favorites. So like I have really thick hair, so growing it out, that's gonna be one of those things where I just have to like pray and meditate because it is thick. Even with only like the top part of my hair, I had a ponytail thicker than some women's whole head. So to like let all of this grow out again is gonna be it's gonna be good. It's gonna be really good. Um, yeah, because I've actually had visions of myself with really long hair again in the next couple of years. So like, how else is that gonna happen unless I just start wearing wigs all the time? I don't know. Um, I digress. So if we have been here, no, not with, since we have been here for many of us have had 80, 100, 180,000 lifetimes here on this planet. Also, all the other lifetimes we've had on other planets. But if we talk about just our earthly inhabitations, the times that we incarnated here on Earth, we know that a part of Earth being in this playground, of this pleasure playground, is all about duality, right? You have the light and you have the shadow. And the light and the shadow have to exist together. As soon as you shine a light on a 3D object, it casts a shadow. However, dark, which is pure primordial creation energy, it exists without light, right? If we think about a baby inside of the womb, the baby is inside the womb and there's no light in there at all. So there's no shadow being cast. It's just dark. And it's not until they're birthed out into the light that any shadow is cast. Okay, so remember when you're working with me, I'm going to use shadow as the unconscious, light as the conscious, and dark as the superconscious. And that's okay. But we are moving now into this place where more people need to be able to channel dark energy. They need to be able to channel pure creation energy, which means that any part of you that is still attached to dualism, that's still attached to this idea of light and shadow, has to die, has to be transmuted and alchemized into the energy necessary to then allow for your highest self to inhabit your physical form. Okay? Is making sense to you guys? I'm going to check Insta. Good morning. Happy Sunday, my beautifuls. Okay, cool. So, how do you do this? So many of us, let's have a conversation right now. How many of you guys know approximately how many lifetimes you've been here, or have some really good, not like really gnarly experiences you remember from past lives? Okay, you can either share about what they are or just say, yeah, that's me in the comments. Like, you remember that you've been on this planet many, many times before, probably been persecuted, probably been burned at the stake, probably had tons and tons and tons of money, but you were a totally evil fucking dictator, right? Who's had this experience? Remember, you can. Fuck. Yes. Oh, yeah. Alicia, get the moon. And today's new moon? Yeah. Thousands. Okay. Erica's had thousands of lifetimes like that. I was on this trip with three of my spiritual besties, and all of us, this was just kept coming up over and over and over. I've seen 7 faces in lifetimes. Erica, yes. Okay, totally. Definitely been persecuted. Okay. So when you think about this, that means that every time that that's happened to you, you have attached to your soul the story of what happened to you in that lifetime. And then when you come back and you incarnate again, your soul actually imprints your DNA with that same story and persecution. And then you add on top of that, the DNA that you're inhibiting in this physical form has the epigenetics of the last 14 generations from both sides of your family, which is 280 years. 280 years ago. So what was that? 200 years ago would have been 1820, 1800. So you're looking at the 1740s. 1740s. You have epigenetic imprinting inside of your DNA from what was happening on the planet in the 1740s. And then on top of it, yes, I am below and back. Yeah. And then, oh, fuck yeah, you were Cleopatra? Hell yeah. Hell yeah, I was probably one of your handsmaids then. Because I remember I had this conversation with a friend. I was like, I wasn't Cleopatra, but I totally remember the snake and like finding her and all this stuff. Anyway, so you have the genetics, the epigenetics in your actual like carbon DNA that goes back 14 generations to the 1740s. You have all of the lifetimes on your soul that as you reincarnate on the karmic wheel, right? We know the karmic wheel. We understand that if we're a good person in this lifetime, we're going to up onto it. We're on our way to nirvana. And then how many of us, myself, I know that I'm one, have taken bodhisattva vows in some lifetime. So bodhisattva vows are these vows of Buddhist belief that you take a vow saying, I won't be a Buddha. I won't be a Buddha. I won't actually incarnate in nirvana and come off of the karmic wheel until all of the other beings on the planet of Earth have also been liberated from suffering. That means you can make it all the way up to Buddha consciousness, and then you leave your physical form and you're like, oh, but I can't go live in nirvana because I made bodhisattva vows, and you fucking reincarnate again. What? What? What the fuck? Like, I don't get to go swim in the cosmic soup? I have to come back to Earth even though I learned all the lessons, all the, like, fucking master magician, know all the spells, memory spells, dream spells, bilocation, telepathy, teleportation, all of it. Telekinesis. You can do all of it. You have all of the knowledge all the way inside of you, in your body, and then you finally leave your physical form, but because a version of you, 2,000 lifetimes ago, 2,000 lifetimes ago, took bodhisattva vows, they're like, oh, sorry, bitch, you get to go back to Earth. That's what your soul keeps doing to you. Literally. That's what your soul, not your spirit, your soul keeps doing over and over and over and over again. It's why the soul is actually attached to the lover prostitute archetype. The prostitute lover archetype. The prostitute being the shadow, the unconscious, the part of you that's always seeking approval of the tribe, the part of you that's willing to sell your soul for a good deal to the devil, the part of you that's like, oh my gosh, I couldn't do this or that, like let the tribe accept me, the part that needs the outside of acceptance. So the soul is attached to the pillar, the column of the prostitute lover archetype. The lover then being the light archetype that goes into the ability to, I love myself. It's a party wherever I go, no matter what. Fuck the tribe. I can do this on my own. Even if everything in my life were lost around me, I wouldn't kill myself. I wouldn't die. I'd be able to rebuild. Okay. So you go from the shadow of the prostitute to the light of the lover. And then if you're actually able to detach from the soul karmic contract altogether, you move into the myth maker. The prostitute lover came to you in my dreams. That is awesome. I spent the entire time in Sedona in the archetype of the sacred prostitute. She was really intense. Like that's a lot of embodiment of bliss and allowing triggers to run through you as bliss. I'm going to be going. The archetypes, all sorts of stuff came in really strongly. So that's really cool, Alicia, that you were able to pick up on that. Like that's what I love. I love when I have people that are like picking up on the same shit when I'm downloading it into. I'm like, oh, all on the same page together. So the sacred prostitute is the myth maker. Okay. So once you can actually move out of this idea of morality, right? That, oh my God, prostitutes, that's bad. That's like negative. That's sex workers. That's bleh, gross, right? The myth maker is the one who makes her own story. She's the one who's like, I've transcended this idea of morality. I'm the one who decides what anything feels like. I decide if a trigger feels like, oh, my heart is breaking. Oh my God, you just hurt me so badly. Or if you're like, oh yeah, trigger. Oh, feels good. Give it to me again and get kinky with it, right? That's the myth maker. That's the one literally writing her own story. She's going through and she's signing all of her earthly contracts away. And this is for men too. I say her, but men can do this too. I witnessed, one of my spiritual besties is a guy, and I was watching him do the same fucking stuff the entire time that we were on our trip. Yes, this lifetime is that cycle for me, honoring the shadow to light to the oracle. Oh, yes. Yes. I love Insta. What's going on down here? Hey, Stephanie. Hi, my loves. Okay. So you have an opportunity, and today's Scorpio new moon, and this is what we're actually going to be doing in the Superconscious Leaders ritual later today. We are going to be signing our earthly contracts, all the ones that are currently available for you to come up and to sign because you have actually finished that. Jesse, hey Jesse, you've finished that karma. You're going to be able to sign it off and let it go, and we're going to be doing an entire ritual around that and then setting intentions with a new stone. So make sure that you get the details on my post about that inside the Superconscious Leaders Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/ and Instagram. I will put this up for you. You'll be able to find it in the post that I'm going to be putting up after we're done with the live stream. Okay. So did I spell conscious wrong? I totally spelled conscious wrong. Anyway, I digress. So we know what the soul is, right? We understand, we get that this is something that we can all do. We can all decide, you know what? Fuck that story. I am so tired of the fact that I was persecuted in so many lifetimes. Like, I have a really good example. In one of my lifetimes in the 1800s, I was incarnated as a man, as a white man, and I learned hoodoo voodoo from a black man in the South, in the Creole country of Louisiana. And I learned all of the magic, and I learned how to do all of these amazing spells, like really high level alchemy. And in that time, I became extremely successful as a magician, extremely successful. People from all over the country, all over the world would come to my home and have me do oracle readings, would have me do practices of hoodoo voodoo tradition, and I became super successful and actually very materialistically wealthy while also having all of this spiritual wealth, which is the biggest lesson that I've come to teach again in this lifetime, is that you don't have to choose between spirituality and material wealth. You're actually capable of having both and more, because as you become more spiritual and more in alignment with divine will, you're automatically taken care of by the other resources. Your root chakra, all of that stuff is just taken care of for you. And you can create $100,000 in a week if you really truly believe that you're divinely guided and divinely supported, and knowing that creating that 100 grand in a week is actually going to allow you to serve more people in moving them into the era of the age of Aquarius, moving you into the era of Terra Nova Elysium, right? So in this lifetime, my mentor who taught me, again, a black man, killed me. He got mad. He got pissed the fuck off that a white man who wasn't raised in the traditions, who came in and learned all this stuff, was becoming very materialistically wealthy. And I was used as a human sacrifice for a really intense ritual in which I was burned alive. So in this vision, my dear friend Ari Kala is the one who had this vision for me. Mid heavens and Aquarius. Yeah, my rising sign is Aquarius. Fucking get you, girl. So Ari had this vision. She showed me all about it, and I've connected to this past life now. And so what happened was, when I was burning, I I astral projected so that I couldn't actually feel the pain of the flames, and then actually went and cursed myself. I cursed my third eye to say, nope, fuck humans. They're not ready. They don't understand. This point, this was like the ninth or 10th really atrocious death that I had dealt with. I had been burned alive at the stake during the Salem witch trials, being a midwife for them, and then getting burned because I was a witch. I died next to Joan of Arc, being her. I actually dual incarnated, so I was Joan of Arc and her best friend who betrayed her simultaneously in that lifetime. I had witnessed my twin flame being drawn and quartered. So many things, so many times that like death just like followed me with being magical. The more magical I got, the more likely I was to get murdered for it. And I sat outside of my body and cursed my soul so that when I got to a certain level of understanding of alchemy, I would cap. And this, all that did was actually reinforce the governor that's already on our DNA that was created by the Atlanteans. When Atlantis fell, they're like, okay, humans can continue to live, but we're going to put a governor on their DNA, meaning you can get this magical but not above. And above would be being able to have full on communications with the outside world, like the outside, the intergalactic being, the inner earth being, all of those things. Okay, so we're getting there, right? And you know more and more people who are having conversations, but you can't, like, it's hard to have like a being come in and sit right here and then other people see them, right? Like, I have beings and intergalactic friends come and visit me all the time, but that doesn't mean that everyone who's in the room can see them, right? So that's the governor, that's the Atlantean governor. So many of my lifetimes, and you guys have all done this yourself too, I'm just using my own example, but I know for a fact that every single one of you who's watching this live stream has had this similar situation happen where you cursed yourself as your physical form was dying, saying, fuck humans. Like, we're done. We're not doing this nowhere thing. I'm so fucking sick of dying. So what you're able to do instead, yeah, I fucking love shaving my head. It feels so good. We have to just let the soul die. Okay, that is what this live stream is about. Death and rebirth of the soul. So you let the soul die. You let all of the incarnations that you've lived on earth die. You let all those stories get wiped away. You sign away all of your karmic contracts, all of the bonds, all of the vows, all of the ties. So many people became super spiritual during a lifetime, but then they took a vow of poverty at the same time, or they took a vow of celibacy, or they took a vow of whatever the fuck, right? Because of this idea that you can't be wealthy or materialistically engaged to also be spiritually engaged. That's bullshit. And as you embody the goddess, as you embody the god, you realize that you get to have both and even more. Like, even more is available to you. So I'm telling you this because this is the real work. The real work is to be able to get a download of like, oh my God, in a past life this happened. And instead of attaching yourself to that story, being like, that's really interesting. I'm really glad that I was able to see that and now I release it. Okay? One way that you can really do this is by installing the belief system that the only things that get processed through your conscious mind are things that are required for you to consciously process as a means to you receiving your highest self and your highest gifts. So when I was in Sedona, I kept doing like a lot of movement, a lot of undulation, a lot of moaning, a lot of all of this. And I realized, like, my friend would be like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, I'm moving energy from my subconscious to my superconscious, and I'm bypassing my conscious mind because I don't need to know. There's too many stories, there's too many lifetimes. I could literally spend my entire life, even 300 years, processing and consciously going through every single story of what occurred in previous lifetimes. Or I could set the requirement of my own belief system that the only things that consciously process through my mind are things that are necessary for my highest level of potential. Okay. And other things are just, they're welcome to move from subconscious to superconscious on their own. And if that comes out as a moan, as that comes out as my back popping, all of that. Because again, if you think about how many lifetimes you've lived, this right here, popping my knuckles, is somehow sending a vibration out through the quantum that is then allowing for that contract, whatever it is, to process. But what would I have to do to actually think? Like, I have to sit there and be like, oh, okay, so which lifetime is being cleared because I'm popping my knuckles? Like, no, it's fucking ridiculous, right? So this is the work. This is the new work, okay? As we move into the age of Aquarius, which occurs on the great conjunction of um, on the winter solstice this year. So a little less than 6 weeks from now, we are moving into the age of Aquarius. Saturn and Jupiter will be conjunct in Aquarius, and a lot of shit's going to go down between now and then. If you're still connected to the 3D world, shit's going to keep blowing up, okay? We already see it happening. We see the election shit and the co shit and the blah 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 and the yada yada yada. That's great. 3D is going to still continue. I've had plenty of visions where I can see that there are centers of dystopian futures. Like you think about, what's the name of that movie? The dis. It's the one where they have like the different houses and like they have you get to decide if you're going to stay with your own house or you're going to go to somewhere else, and they end up leaving the city and they're like, holy shit, this is what the world looks like. I can't remember the name of it at all. Um, Starts with a D. If you remember, tell me. That's going to still occur in certain areas, but in other areas, we're going to have new Earth. We're going to have cities and areas out in all sorts of parts of the world that have access to, you're so welcome, that have access to new Earth technology, where we're going to be in communications with the intergalactic and inner Earth beings, where we're going to have that magic, where we're going to be able to bilocate. We're not going to need trains, planes, and automobiles. We're going to be able to think, okay, right now I'm in the center of Peru and I'm here. Okay, I'm ready to go visit my family that lives on Maui. And then you'd literally be in Maui. Okay, I've spent a couple of weeks on Maui. I got all the downloads. I'm ready to go to the home that's in the Appalachian Mountains. Boom. And you're going to go be able to do that, right? We're going to continue to have our more of our super conscious resources in bodies, right? Embodied. The only thing that I want you guys to realize is that your highest self, the part of you that connects when you're there, when you're channeling your highest self, is capable of inhabiting your physical form. Right now, what you're witnessing is my highest self in my body. I signed all of my karmic contracts over the last week. I signed off all of that shit. My soul, like, I was literally witnessed as my soul was dying. 3 of my closest friends witnessed it. And this morning, I took a fucking razor to my head and shaved off my hair. And now the downloads that are coming in, it's like my whole body is like hot and just turned the fuck on. I'm tuned in, I'm tapped in, I'm turned on. I can feel it all. And because of that, I'm glowing in my brilliance, right? And you can see it radiating off of me. And there's not a question of whether or not what I'm saying is truth. You can feel it in your bones, right? You don't know how you know what I know is true. You just fucking know it in your bones. And that's because your soul is ready to also be released, right? Just release the soul, release the debt, release the karma, release the stories, release the past lives. You know, a good one of my friends was like super mad at me. He was like lividly angry at me. And I was like, why are you so mad right now? And he's like, I remember all the times you left me. I remember all the times that you abandoned me. And I was all like, okay, but I'm here right now and I'm not abandoning you. I'm here while you're processing this. You need to forgive me, right? You need to let me go. You need to let that version of you go so that you can now be here and now and we can do the fucking work that we're here to do together. And, you know, it was really intense to witness and to be able to hold the space for that. But the work that needs to be done to be super conscious leaders of new earth and stand the way that, you know, even Mary and Jesus stood, Mary Magdalene and Mary and Jesus stood and taught that level of pure divinity. They didn't have any of their earthly karma, even though, do you like how my earring just fell out? Even though Mary Magdalene came into her body fully aware of her past lives, she was able to spend the beginning of her life in a lot of meditation to clear out that soul contract karma so that she could live in the embodiment of her highest self. Okay, so you get to choose every single day. Every single day is only about the here and now. Yes, Randy. Every single day is about, you only have to make one choice. That's it. You have to make one fucking choice every day. And that choice is to embody your highest self. Okay? It's going to take some time. The biochemical feedback loop, the bioemotional feedback loop of your physical body still is going to have patterns, right? So while right now you can decide right here and now, the mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies can be immediately on board because you're a fucking supercomputer. Your physical body is the densest body. We've talked about this before. It's also in the Accelerated Ascension Bootcamp that you can purchase on my website, where I talk about all four bodies in more depth and how to clear them and how to get rid of your ascension symptoms. You are able to, you're going to have to take a little bit more time, right? You do have, there is linear time, there is old karmic contracts, there's old not karmic contracts, there's old patterns in your body, right? So I'm actually going to be writing a book for next year called Reclaiming Your Divinity Through Your Posture, and showing you how much your posture is actually related to a lot of what I've been talking about today too. If you have a habit of doing this, then you're closing in, you're not allowing for the space necessary. That'll be a whole other live stream. But that's your biggest thing, like making the singular choice every single fucking day that you are going to allow for your human body, your physical body in right here and right now to exist. And what is inhabiting your body is your highest spirit, your Holy Spirit, your higher self, however you want to phrase that. And that your soul that is linked to the earthly karma gets to dissolve, and it gets to die. It gets to be alchemized. Okay, I'm gonna read this. My love, the sacred prostitute seems the same as the goddess demon of pleasure Lilith energy. That's what she told me anyway. She takes over and I have sex and she's incredible. She told me she is the three most powerful of all the yeah, Lilith, triple goddess, sacred prostitute, all the same fucking thing. Absolutely, Randy. Oh my god, my dream, I had trio between me and my hubby and another person. There was a book in the archway. There was a book. Where did you learn about the triple goddess? Yeah. Yeah. Alicia. Okay, guys, there are no fucking books. Thank you for this. You know it in your DNA. You have access to it in your crystalline DNA. Stop fucking reading books about this shit. Know it. If you need a mentor, find someone who's talking about it and hire them, because they're going to teach you how to know it yourself, right? I teach you how to resource your own divinity. I'm not here to be like, okay, take my course, sign up for my course so that you can learn this step by step. No, your process, Alicia, is going to be different than mine. It's going to be similar in framework, but it's not going to be the exact same process because we haven't lived the exact same lives, right? This is what I'm here to teach. This is what I'm here to do, to teach you how to resource your own divinity, to be your own higher self here in physical form so that we can have heaven on earth, so that we can have heaven on earth. While the whole rest of the planet chooses hell on earth, we are choosing heaven on earth, and that is Terra Nova Elysium, okay? This is it. This is it. Love you for this download. Love you too, my darling. Everything is only about the here and now. I choose daily to evolve into my higher self. Hell to the yes. Literally told myself today I was shifting. Yep. Been connecting more to my physical body and erecting my posture. Yes. Get those massages. There's a building I see. I often say ancient alchemy. Yeah. So good. Love you. Thank you. How do you get rid of the soul, all past lives, current, all contracts? You sign them away, Sabrina. Come to the ritual tonight. I'm doing a ritual inside Superconscious Leaders at 5 p.m. Mountain. It's a free Facebook group. We're going to be signing our karmic contracts. It's a choice, okay? This obsession with how do I do this? How do I do that? It's a fucking choice. Right here, right now. There's literally nothing, exactly what Randy said. There's nothing except for the here and the now. Time is an illusion. While our experience of time is not, like I said, it might take you a couple of days. Like when people are like, I'm integrating, right? I'm integrating this information. Oh, I just went on this epic trip and I need to integrate. Like, don't get me wrong, I fucking slept most of yesterday. But I had the intention that by the time I woke up today, I was going to be fully integrated and fully embodied. And the first thing I fucking did was shave my head, right? Like, it's done. It's done. There's not a how do I know this, right? How do I know that I got this done? I know it in my motherfucking bones. That's how I know it. And I know it in my pussy, and I know it in my throat, and I know it in every single part, every single solitary fucking cell, atom of my body knows that what I just spoke to you about for the last 36 minutes is absolute divine fucking truth. Period. End of fucking discussion. I don't need to explain to you or justify how I know it. I just fucking know it. And that is sovereignty. That is true sovereignty. And that is true superconscious leadership. Not needing to explain yourself all the time. I sleep next to books, however, I never want to read them. So good. Need to teach it myself with you. Yeah, fuck yeah. Trinity. Shakti, amazing. Yeah. Fuck yeah. Hell yeah, guys. Okay. I love you. This was an epic download. Feel free to go back and watch it again. Be inside of the Superconscious Leadership today, 5 p.m. Superconscious Leaders Facebook group. You're gonna need some things. I don't know. It's on my post. It's on the Facebook post. It's on the Instagram post. Instagram, you're gonna be able to go into my link tree. It'll be in there in the bio. I'll make sure that that's all updated so you can get into the Facebook group. Yeah, the clairvoyance is actually stronger. Fuck yeah, like my clairvoyance is off the fucking chain right now. It's really awesome. But yeah, I gotta go do some grocery shopping and all this stuff. But I love you. Epic. You guys are all amazing. Have a beautiful rest of your Sunday. Thank you for joining me this morning. And I will see you guys at 5 p.m. inside Superconscious Leaders for the Death and Rebirth New Moon in Scorpio ritual. Okay. Love you.